You know, as a personal matter, when you have heart disease, you take a number of medicines and blood pressure issues and all the rest. I'm actually much healthier than I sound, believe it or not. But there's one of them that causes you to cough. And so I take another medicine that tries to prevent it, just so you understand. So I do the best I can. We keep muscling through here. Stephen, Shreveport, Louisiana, the great K-E-E-L. Go.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? I only got a couple minutes, but how come I agree with everything?
Well, I hope I'm not interrupting you. Go ahead.
I'm just picking my daughter up at the airport, that's all.
Right.
I agree with everything Ron Scale says, but I never agree with you. By the way, you did a great thing in the opening, as any great lawyer does, is frame the problem. You know, you said the problem with America right now, the greatest problem is Islamic radicals. I totally disagree. That's not our biggest problem. It's debt. And,
pal. I'm talking about in foreign policy. Do you listen to this show? Nobody spends more time going after the Speaker of the House, the Republican leadership, the leftists in this country, the Marxists, the president, on spending than I. So don't pretend that I'm myopic. They're not mutually exclusive. But you got to be a little flexible, pal. You got to be able to move from issue to issue and then link your principles to them. Our biggest foreign policy threat are Islamic nut jobs. And if you don't think so, then you're wrong. Our biggest threat internally is obvious. Pal, let me finish. Is obviously the left. I wrote a whole damn book on it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, if debt is our problem, and debt is really our problem to democracy right now, I mean, by the way, you know, Reagan doubled it during his term.
All right, thanks for your call. You're just a schmuck. I'm glad your daughter's not in the car. I don't know where the hell you're coming from, but it really doesn't matter because I'm not into UFO. Reagan doubled the debt. All those Democrats in Congress who fought him every step of the way. It wasn't them, no, it was Reagan, the conservative. He doubled the debt. Reagan slashed taxes. He tried to destroy the Department of Education. He did 1,000 things, but Reagan doubled the debt. I want you to, we'll sway into what that guy was talking about here a second. This is what is amazingly, really pathetic about the left. They want massive government at every level. They've brought us to the brink. They take the most conservative president in 100 years and say, look what he did to the debt. It's an amazing thing to listen to this, to watch these people. Reagan wanted to abolish the education department. They stopped him. Not a single one of Reagan's budgets was adopted. They used to call it debt on arrival, remember? There were all kinds of things Reagan wanted to do. They blocked him. And then they say, with their Democrats in Congress demanding ever more spending, as they do with every president, even with Obama, they spend more than he proposed. Look what you've done to the debt. It's an amazing thing to watch these people, how incoherent and absurd they are. Dan Mitchell, who is a Ph.D. in economics, used to work at Heritage, now works at Cato, I believe. He's done all this analysis of all the recent presidents. He says there's just no question. By far, Reagan was the least of the big spenders. Now, George Bush was one of the big ones. Reagan didn't create any new massive entitlement programs. I mean, he had a massive tax cut that created 40 million jobs right into the Clinton era. And he constantly was trying to control spending. The government was shut down twice by Ronald Reagan in 1981 and 84. Short periods of time, yes, but he shut it down to try and make the point. 78 vetoes compared to 12 by Bush. The president is not a dictator. He's the president. If Reagan had been a dictator, the government would look much, much different than it does. If Obama is a dictator, the government would look a lot different, too. Gee, I wonder what direction he'd take us in. We'll be right back.